Welcome back as we continue our prospect rankings. We're going to be going over the linebackers, but hey, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. We will be having a new mock draft, that's right, on a Friday nonetheless. That'll be out in a few hours, so go ahead, check that out when it drops. Walk the mock, it's happening tomorrow. Go check the Twitter or check the channel. You can find it on there. Let's go ahead, do the darn thing, get into the nitty gritty because this linebacker class is actually extremely good. Honestly, probably should have done a top 15 because there are going to be some guys that don't make the list. But hey, if you want to check out my full prospect rankings, you can check out the Patreon in the link in the description. But we're going to start with Quay Walker at 10. Got him as prospect rank 74 on the big board. There have been some movement because of the pro days, but currently he sits at 74. Age, you're going to notice something about these Georgia prospects. We have no idea how old they are. As we'll get to a couple others later, but 6'4", 242, tested well at the combine. I wouldn't say it was like all he did was the bench at his pro day, I believe, but he had a 4.52 solid. Wasn't the fastest among the linebackers. I actually believe that goes to Troy Anderson. But, yep, it goes to Troy Anderson. But still pretty solid. 32 in the vert, 122 in the broad, 704, 3-cone, and the short shuttle being a nice 422. Another impressive athletic linebacker. I just wanted to, for me, I was, kind of questionable on this dude's athleticism. Not questionable on his athleticism. I knew he was fast. I wanted to see if he would test out smooth. And he's not going to be the smoothest guy in this class, but he's still, he moves well laterally. Coming into this season, there were a ton of concerns when it came to his processing. And it is really the inability to diagnose plays correctly. This year, he definitely seemed a lot more comfortable in that regard. And just trusted what he saw. He's been explosive, shooting the gaps, because that's what those Georgia linebackers do. They blitz, but he has one on the edge. He's twitchy, bendy. He's actually got pretty decent length at 32 and 5/8 arms, but 16 pressures, 2 sacks on 75 pass rush attempts, pretty solid. He's been a great tackler his whole career with a 5% missed tackle rate. Does a good job of limiting pass catchers in coverage. And to be fair, Georgia really made things simple for him in coverage because they often lined him up in man coverage on tight ends and running backs. But he's pretty darn solid. Good prospect. This is a really good linebacker class. And he comes here at 10. And you're going to see why. There's a lot of good prospects. But let's go ahead to number 9. Damone Clark out of LSU. Got him prospect rank 70. But another dude that had a really solid combine. 4.57 40. 36.5 is very nice on the vert. 127 on the broad's real nice. Didn't do a short shuttle, but 3-cone, 712, not bad at all. But when it comes to him, he's been such an imposing presence for the LSU Tigers at his size, playing at a 6'2", 240. But from his size, he plays strong, stopping guys literally in their tracks. 6% missed tackle rate this past season. He's been a good run stuffer, 46 defensive stops on the year. Solid blitzer as well. And when it comes to coverage, he's often just asked to spy teams with more mobile quarterbacks. It's kind of led to 23 pressures, 6 sacks on 75 pass rush steps. That's really good. I think moving laterally, he's not the most fluent athlete, but he's not bad by any regards. Again, we're kind of nitpicking here when it comes to these top guys. And in coverage, he's more of a again, a guy that just tackles and makes sure tackles the pass catcher, makes sure they don't get plus gains after the catch. Not really a guy that I would say has a lot of ball skills to him. But then again, man, that's more than enough to be a solid linebacker in the NFL. Sometimes we get especially me, I'm a sucker for athleticism, and I go chasing these guys that are incredible in coverage, but it just ends up they're just like they end up they play fast, but they're too light. They're missed tackle machines, and again, like with the hybrid guys, like the NFL, I just feel like don't really know how to use them. Like Isaiah Simmons is kind of a perfect example. First couple of years, like for the Cardinals, they couldn't really get a good idea on how to use them. But against Mississippi State's air raid, he was targeted heavily. He allowed 11 receptions on 13 targets, but only managed 64 yards. Like I said, they kept doing that dink and dunk, and he was like, fine, whatever, but you're not going to get a lot of gain when you come my way. So less than 6 yards a catch. I like it. He is a solid prospect. Definitely going in day 2. And then Shannon Tindall. Actually, don't know the age of Shannon Tindall. Again, I don't know what's up with these Georgia prospects, but I love this cat. Like, and the picture I got of him doesn't even do justice. I think this is from like 2 years ago. Like, this cat is jacked out his mind. He's kind of got a skinny lower half, but them arms are huge. The length is great. Again, another guy with 32-inch arms. He ran real fast at a 4.47. He had a 42 in the vert, which I think was the highest among linebackers, and that's actually better than Boye Mafe's vert. It's kind of insane. 129 inches on the broad. 403 shuttle was impressive. 422 3-cone though. It's like, yeah, he's not really the most like change of direction guy, so that kind of makes sense. But he is quite rangy. He got his real first taste of starting experience this past season, though. Coming into the season, he only had a little over 200 snaps to his name, but this dude's so explosive downhill. He has shown the power to stack offensive linemen. He had 28 stops on the season. Pass rusher, 15 pressures, 8 sacks on 55 pass rushing snaps. In coverage, he was mainly just used as literally a spy linebacker when it came to more mobile quarterbacks. Like, the dude had a field day against Herndon Hooker from Tennessee, sacking him 3 times. His short area quickness, really, like, legit. He has incredible closing speed. 8.8 missed tackle rate this past season. Kind of a projection when it comes to coverage, you can say, because like he's twitchy, he's got like great ranges as an athlete. It's just a matter of will he be a guy that you can like kind of like have sit back and kind of process the field? I'm not positive about that, but again, this guy coming downhill, ridiculous. Put him on the weak side, have him as a blitzer pretty often. I think that's top a notch. Like, you love the explosiveness. This cat, I think best known, like, had a great Senior Bowl, best known for the pass blocking drill, where it was him against Brian Robinson, legit like one of the biggest running backs in this class. And Brian Robinson literally went for the headshot, knocked him. Tindall literally did this thing where he just swung around and still ended up winning the rep, getting to the quarterback. Like, everyone's going to remember that mean hit, but they're not going to remember that he won the rep. So I like that. I like that never say die, that motor he has. So big Tindall fan. At number 7, Brandon Smith. He's a bit of a project, but also keep in mind this past season was his first year being a traditional linebacker. At Penn State, he was used heavily as a kind of a joker, kind of this overhang safety, overhang linebacker. He was used in the slot a ton. Like, this dude's so explosive coming downhill. And the dude tested out like an absolute freak. He almost has 35-inch arms, by the way. Just going to throw that out there. But 37.5 on the vert, 128 on the broad. This dude comes with a lot of explosiveness. He could come downhill with a lot of steam. And the dude really likes to stick it to ball carriers. But there was a noticeable hesitancy when he moved more towards that Mike role last year for Penn State, where he didn't really come in with that same type of ferocity, you know? when forced to again, this was a big position switch for him. When forced to play through offensive linemen, he didn't show the same explosiveness he did when he was, having to square up against receivers. So that's something I think he needs to work on that. Like, he needs to lose, not necessarily go reckless abandon, but lose that hesitancy. Don't get latched on so much. Be a bit more active with his hands. And he just needs to find ways how to defeat blocks when he does get latched on. He's going to need some coaching. I think it's a matter of time. You could start him at either the linebacker spots, and then eventually I think he can be a guy you can throw in the middle, because his physical traits are freaking nuts. Like, the guy 4.52 at 250. Like, let's just say that. You might be like, oh, 4.52, that's not that impressive. He did it at 250 pounds. That's kind of nuts. And then number 6, Brian Asamoah. He was a big Senior Bowl riser. He looked like one of the best linebackers there at the Senior Bowl. Ended up coming in, he has a ridiculous wingspan and good length. Didn't run nearly as fast as I expected at a 4.56, but hey, that's actually still pretty darn good for a linebacker. 23 on the bench. That's pretty solid. 36.5 on the vert. 124 on the broad. The dude's just a great athlete. And coming into the year, man, he really needed to show something. Everyone and their mom knew this guy's rangy. This guy's got length. He's got amazing athleticism. But, he was a missed tackle machine. And he didn't really look comfortable in coverage. Now, I wouldn't say even this year that he really became a playmaker in coverage, but he does a fine job of contesting the catch and minimizing gains. His athleticism suggests he could be much more in that department, in that length. So be on the look for that. This guy, this past season, this cat, he did a lot of things pre-snap. He was constantly calling out assignments and realignments for the front seven. And honestly, that might have been one of the most impressive things about his game this past year. And again, I'm a sucker for lengthy guys, high-end athletes. The 80-inch wingspan is ridiculous. Big fan. Got him at 47 on my big board. And then at number 5, at 46 on my big board, is Christian Harris, a guy that tested out freaking cuckoo bonanza, dude. Had a 4.4, 40, 4.44, 40, 34 and a half on the vert, but then 132 on the broad, which I think was second among linebackers this past at the combine this past month. There we go. I was gonna say year. I was like, the year hasn't been that long. But he has an ideal frame and the athleticism to really play any linebacker spot. That's why I put him as all around. He could take on blockers with relative ease. He was really a force in the run game, and he was very disruptive as a pass rusher. 31 pressures and 6 sacks on only 116 pass rush snaps in 2020. Didn't have the same type of success this past season, but still 14 pressures, 4 sacks on 115 pass rush snaps. I would say in coverage, he's more of a man guy. If you're going to if I'm a defense that prefers to have my linebackers in man coverage, this is my guy. Legit, this is the guy here. Because you could tell for as great as an athlete he is, he does have trouble processing and just kind of getting a feel of where he needs to be in zone. So there's that. Sometimes his eyes stay too long in the backfield. He follows the NFL. He follows quarterbacks' eye candy way too much. So in the NFL, he will get played by quarterbacks that are okay, follow my eyes, and now you're out of position. So that's something he needs to develop, and he needs to just, I think, a bit more understanding and a bit more patience. Be a little more proactive and a little less reactive in that regard. But coming downhill, man, this guy comes with a head of steam. Dude can stack blockers, and he is a solid tackler at 9.2 missed tackle rate this past season. So, this dude's going to be money in the run game. On number 4, Chad Muma out of Wyoming. If I'm gonna, the one knock I could give to this cat's game is physicality and the lack thereof. He is just a guy that I expected to be a bit more physical. He's more opportunist, as I would say. Like as a blitzer, he at Wyoming, he never really took on blocks. Instead, he kind of sat back and shot gaps. That was kind of his thing. In the run game, there are times where he does get stuck on blocks. So I'd like to see him be a bit more violent in that regard. Since he's, especially if you're gonna hover around 240, I would like to see that. But he's a plus athlete who has displayed incredible ability just to be around the line of scrimmage. Anything, this guy gets nimble, gets quick. He makes himself tiny between tackles, and he does a good job of dipping under blocks and being able to get into the backfield this past season, or at least over his career. 41 pressures, 6 sacks on only 146 pass rushing snaps. Like I said, the dude maneuvers the line well. He doesn't stay necessarily engaged in blocks like all the time. Again, this is like a 50-50 with him. Something he needs to do a bit more consistent. But 59 stops this past season. Pretty solid. 8% missed tackle rate. Very good. And in coverage, he honestly is a pretty solid playmaker in that regard. 3 interceptions this past season. Throw a pass breakup in there. This guy has everything it needs to be everything that he needs to be a 3-down linebacker in the NFL. So that's why I got him at 43. As you can tell, Harris, Asamoah, and Muma, they're all relatively close to one another. It's really kind of like pick your guy. They all do something a little. They're not the same. They're not the same type of linebacker. Kind of like pick who you want. You want a more physical guy, then you're probably going with a Christian Harris. You want that rangy guy, then you're probably going with the Asamoah. If you're looking for the all-around, a little bit of both, Muma it is. And then number 3, Nakobe Dean. A lot of people might be surprised at this, but he was unable to perform in his pro day because of a pectoral injury, and he kind of needed to. He didn't really do any of the drills, and there is a lot of criticism when it comes to he's a smaller guy, 5'11", 229. Size is going to be a big question mark in the NFL. Length, big question mark. He's actually got a little bit more length than Muma, but the wingspan, they're not similar in that regard. Listen, I love Nakobe Dean. This guy, he constantly made plays throughout the year. There are questions about his athleticism because he's so good at reacting and reading the play that it's easy to get, is he athletic? Is he quick to the play, or did he just see it that early? I got him here at 32, but you can't deny this dude made a ton of plays in this past year. This dude literally took a pick six, or took an interception for a pick six against Florida while lining up on the outside on a running back. Again, he just kind of he just read the quarterback, made the jump. Good luck. There was that play against Kentucky where it was a screen and everyone on Georgia bit the other way except for Dean, and he was able to get through 3 guys that were right in front of Chris Rodriguez and made the stop. The dude's pretty good, man. Dude's pretty good this past season. 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. He's cleaned up as a tackler, 11% missed tackle rate this past season. The dude does a decent job taking on blocks, gets good leverage, which doesn't surprise me at 5'11". It's pretty easy to get under guys that are 6'5". Very opportunistic blitzer, 17 pressures, 6 sacks this past year on 77 pass rushing snaps. Keep in mind, this guy in 2020 took over Monty Rice's starting job. Caused Monty Rice, who ended up going into the 3rd round in 2021, caused him to be benched. So, Nakobe Dean's a great prospect. It's just the offseason draft process, not being able to see him run or anything, I think that might hurt him. And I don't know necessarily if he's a guy that you can have in the middle of the field. Also, another guy that we have no idea the age of. Who would have thought? Actually, no, I got him listed. No, he's 21. What am I talking about? Oh, man, I should have put it on there. Oh, well. He's 21. And then Devin Lloyd. Oh, man, y'all are going to be like, what? I can't believe you put this guy at number 1. But it is what it is. We'll talk about it when we get there. Devin Lloyd, man, had one hell of a year. I got him at 29 on my prospect rankings. I knew he wasn't going to test out like phenomenally. Like 35 vert, pretty good. The 126 broad, pretty good. But again, the 4.66, I knew he wasn't going to be like, that's still pretty fast for a linebacker. That's not bad, especially considering he's up there 237. So no big deal. Still probably, I think, one of the best all-around linebackers. While like it's not like this guy's like a Micah Parsons. Like a lot of people kind of like got him, at least they tried to compare the two, and it's like, no, Micah Parsons was a freak, like a legit freak. But Devin Lloyd, another guy, good luck finding this dude's age. They're keeping that close to the vest, so I'm thinking maybe he's 23, hoping he's not 24. But again, probably one of the best all-around linebackers in this class. He does well taking on blocks, and he gets to the backfield effortlessly. In the shortened season in 2020, he had 27 defensive stops, 10 tackles for loss, and that was only through 5 games. This season, 50 stops, 26 pressures, 8 sacks. Again, this guy was legit. He gets out to the flats real quick. He shows good short area burst. I like that. Large wingspan means he's gonna I think a guy you could drop back into his zone and like he's gonna cause the quarterback problems just because he's gonna be able to clog passing lanes with that type of length. But by no means was he a liability in coverage this past season. That was kind of one of the bigger question marks I had coming into the year. But I wouldn't say he's a playmaker in coverage. He did have 3 picks and 3 pass breakups. To be fair, 2 of those picks were on tipped balls, but he showed real good ball skills. They were like diving catches. Good on you. I think he's got great motor. He's going to be a 3-down linebacker in the NFL. 9.5 missed tackle rate this past season, which was the lowest of his career. Good on him. Combine that with the length, and like this dude's a sure tackler. You could easily translate to any scheme. He's got the frame, the length. I'm all for it, man. This is a guy that, if anything, if I'm going to nitpick something, because I like him at the back end of the first round. So, after pick 20, this is when I start thinking about him. I don't know if I think about him any higher than that. Just also because, you're looking for positional value. But if we're going to nitpick, he could have a bit better of tackling technique. This dude's kind of a dive and drag type of tackler. But again, that's something he got better at this past season. We're kind of nitpicking. It was more of a problem in 2020, less of a problem in 2021. And then Chenal out of Wisconsin. I said, screw it. I'm doing it. I'm going for it. I absolutely love this guy, and he's typically the total opposite of what I like in linebackers. I'd like to say I'm evolving when it comes to guys that I like at the linebacker position, just because it's such a hard position to evaluate. Big fan of a guy like Patrick Quay, who's had a struggle transition to the NFL. He did look a bit better down the stretch this year, though. But Chenal at 250, 6'3", this guy was a amazing blitzer. 21 pressures, 9 sacks on only 96 pass rushing snaps. This was a cat that could line up in the B gap and win. He could win against offensive linemen. He's stupid strong. He has full body strength. 58 stops this past season. 2 forced fumbles. A missed tackle rate of under 9%. You like to see it. But if anything, my biggest questions were, because Wisconsin, those guys, the linebacker, the scheme there for linebackers, it's pretty linebacker friendly. You know, they kind of like just spot drop their linebackers, and they don't really put them in positions, you know, where they will be susceptible, I suppose. But like when it came to Chenal, I was like, man, I don't think he's a guy that can move laterally. I mean, at 250, I don't expect him to be a guy that moves laterally pretty well, but he maneuvers the line pretty well. Like he's gonna, he's gonna be a great run stuff for a guy that can blitz. It's just in coverage, man. I'm kind of concerned because again, Wisconsin, they kind of protected their linebackers in coverage. You could say the same thing about a guy like Jack Sanborn, who, again, man, this dude, I think let's just say Sanborn made 15. He's number 15 on my linebackers. I'm actually a big fan of that cat too, but he probably had by far the best combine of any linebacker. At 250, he ran a 4.53. Bench, 34 reps on the bench. No one came close. He was really hoping for that 40. Didn't get it, though. 40 and a half in the vert, 128 in the broad. And this is what got me, dude. 6.84 in the 3-cone. There were only 3 receivers at the combine who had a sub 7-second 3-cone. And then no one could even touch him on the shuttle, as he had he was under 4 seconds in the shuttle. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So looking at those numbers, that tells me while he may not be a guy that's necessarily you want to drop back into coverage, those numbers tell me he's not going to be a liability. Those numbers tell me, oh man, this guy maybe could be a bit better in coverage than what we anticipated. Like, again, that's kind of what turned me around on him. Like, I got him at 26 on my big board. Again, Devin, Lloyd, he's sitting there at 29. But I think if you're looking for a linebackers that will be solid players for the next 10 years for your franchise, it's Chenal, it's Lloyd. There's some concerns about Dean. And then you got a bunch of day 2 guys. Like, again, Troy Anderson literally just missed the list at 11. Darian Beavers was there at 12. Like, and those guys I have day 2 grades for. I legit have 12 linebackers with a day 1 or day 2 grade. This is a great linebacker class. And I think we're going to see a lot of them go off the board on day 2. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who are some guys you think maybe should have made the list, or maybe some of your sleepers? That's it for the video. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.